What is your desire? What is your intention? What is it that you think like when you have something, you have everything? Some people have children, they are not happy. Some people don't have children, they are happy. Some people, they are married, they are not happy. Some people, they are not married, they are happy. So everybody go through certain different stages or trials. Last year, Second Power of Love, Pont Syahira attended. We did with this organization called MIJ, My Inspiring Journey. They are for disabled children or less, how call it, no? Special needs children. Because when I say autism, sometimes she scold me, say, don't say autism. Right? Because it's taboo. So when I met some of the parents and some of them read the Quran, they are all, special needs children. They are not like us. They are not able to be like us. Normal, they call it. And this is not to look down on them, but this is the reality. When I saw how they read Quran, wow, subhanallah. So that means from there onwards, I realized that Allah has just planned for me to talk about failure and together with the organization. And just show that there's no failure actually. When I look at them, how they read Quran and how some of them when they read Quran, their tears are almost flowing. Say, subhanallah. And that's why we today, modern people, we call ourselves modern society, modern people, we forget that we have a soul. Because everything in our life now hinges on creation and material. We don't know who we are. And we don't want to know who we are because we are being identified by something that we want, something that we like. Like a guy like a girl, a guy love a girl, and he will always mention the girl name throughout the night and everything. So his identity is no more himself, right? Just continue with it. So, talking about intention. I was thinking about this deeply when I was going through certain things in life, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His mercy brought me throughout the world, and I went to Africa, Senegal, Morocco, and for me it was not to look at the world, for me it's to look into myself. And I met a lot of wali Allah in Senegal and Morocco and Mauritania, and they also changed my life. And the most basic, this Mauritanian, right? I just thought about the story, right? Before I get into this. The Mauritanian, they live in the desert throughout their life and they had nothing but Allah. So they can sleep anywhere. Anywhere. If you allow them, they say, okay, I sleep here, I sleep here. He had no issues. But only two things they don't want to lose. Zikir and Salat. We met so many students studying in Mauritania. How tough life is there. Because it's mountainous, right? It's rock, it's all stones there, deserts and all that. So, in certain places, they only have electricity 2 hours after Maghrib. Like it or not, you finish it, whatever you need to do on that. So, the student will study with the candlelight. Right? And water, oh boy. Water, you only have like this only. There's your wudu, there's your bath, and then after that, if you do business, your istinja, whatever, that one you use for one whole day. But today in Singapore, Malaysia, you go wudu, like open, right? So you don't understand what is syukur. And sometimes we think syukur is about we get something that we want after our tahajjud or after our prayer, our munajat. Oh, that's it. Allah is giving me. That means Allah approve. But the reality is, since when Allah deprive us of the good things that we need in life? Right? So, getting back to what I mentioned just now, intention. Now we go back to intention again. Right? Just to firmly establish how intention is very, very important because it's the beginning of our action. Prophet ﷺ, he said, A'malu binniyat. Every action is based on intention. Yes, niyat. Like, so it goes like, our intention rely our agenda. It makes us focus on what we can do, even if it looks small or even not worth our attention. But don't forget, it's the process that we are willing to go through. They will eventually make us reach our goal. We shouldn't focus on the outcome. We should learn from the details that come from the process that we go through. There are many priceless lessons that we gain wisdom from to be better than yesterday. Right? I think this is something that a lot of today, this is something that today many young people especially are not able to relate, because you feel like if you had given everything, that is enough. Let me tell you, nothing is enough except Allah. Because everything that you do today is preparing for you on the day of your judgment. At work, marriage, study, your contribution, your sadaqah, your service, your love for your neighbor, how you treat your spouse, how you treat your children, and people who you don't know. Right? People who you never know in your life actually can benefit you in many ways. That's why the Senegalese proverb, they say that if you want to be on the spiritual path, you have to treat everyone as Khidir and every night as Lailatul Qadar. Why? Because that's the only way for you to be sincere. Because you don't know who's coming. And you do not know who's that person. And you never know what you go through today is better for you tomorrow. You may lose someone, or you may lose something, you may lose your career, you may lose your house, you may lose your car. But you never lose Allah. But unless you abandon Allah. So, the material world, which the Western or even Hollywood projected that if you had something like this and this and this and this, it's complete. Whereas your life is not based on material, like I said just now, right? Even if you have $1 million today, and if you die, what good is that $1 million? Unless and except you contribute it to charity, or you buy wakaf, or you give to Itqan, and then on the day of judgment, you reap the benefits. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. Right? Why is it that Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, he gave up his wealth 4 times? Right? Not 1 time, actually. 4 times he gave up his wealth. But on the day of on the day he died, he was not poor. Right? So our intention is very, very important, because our intention leads to our attention that drive us to the destination. A lot of times we focus on what we cannot do. Like a lot of people I met, even in marriage problem, relationship problem, they focus on the problem. They never focus on Allah. Why? Because we are so used to hold on to our problems. And then we said, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. Who asked you to do it? Let Allah finish it. You think you come today is because of only your mind wants to come? Because you have the intention to come. That Allah make the intention is for you. Right? So intention is very, very important. A'malu binniyat. That means that even when you start to salat, it's also intention first. You didn't intend, I pray Maghrib, I want heaven. You said, I pray Maghrib, 3 rakaat, Allah. Because of Allah. And that suffice you whatever that you need. When we say suffice, it doesn't mean that miracle happen and you become a millionaire and then they say, tada. No. Suffice means that you have Allah, is enough for you. That's why Rabi'atu Adawiyah, they asked if you pray for heaven or hell. She said, if you remove heaven and hell, I will still pray for Allah. right? So intention is very important because the goal is not what you achieve. The goal is for you to know that how long you live is what you go through that makes who you really are. Right? So later on I will say again, I will catch up with what are the things that we can do. So this goes the same what I said just now. Each one of us will face different trials and tribulations because we are unique and each have different potential and roles to contribute and share in the world. I learned this from Wali Allah. Really, when I was traveling, meeting the Mauritanians, the Moroccans, or the Senegalese, or even some Yemeni scholars, Habaib and so on, I realized that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed us that nothing is impossible. It's how you derive from your intention that you never let it go for you to be able to understand that, okay, this is for me. Right? A lot of times we focus on what we want, which is good, okay, fine. But we don't realize that if we put in effort through our intention, Allah will give us better than what we want. When Allah gives us better what we want is that only on the day of what? The day that we die, then we realize we saw like, hey, actually all these are good for me. Right? All these are good for me. And failure is a mercy. Right? You have to keep trying because the real failure is the one that you never try anything. Okay. So I think before I continue, maybe we can have some discussion with all of you since there's not many of us here. I'd just like to ask, like, what is your biggest fear in life? Not hantu. What is your biggest fear in life? And maybe some of you like to share. Because we learn something, as I said just now, we can learn something from each other. And sometimes you don't realize our fear is the barrier to our own success with Allah. And the reason is because we keep looking at ourselves and say, what good am I? What can I do? But if you look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and say look doesn't mean He's in all this, no. Your focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you realize that nothing is impossible. Everything is achievable through His mercy. And our life is to be alive, is to witness that mercy. That's why you cannot fix people. You cannot change people, but you have to change yourself. You cannot change the world. So you have to change the way how you see the world. And the world is actually not broken. The one that is broken is us. So fix ourselves. So okay, I think we can get the floor going to share like what is our greatest fear in life.
Assalamualaikum.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, this fear is more like me being as a mom. Okay, I'm a mother of two, so this is about my children basically. Because living in this age and time, I always constantly think of how they're going to be in the future, and about just this world that we live in, even at this moment, is scary enough. So for me, it's just I always have this fear of, is in my dua every day. Like, I want them to be the people of God, to live up to their names. I name them with the good names because I want them to live up to their names. But it's very, I just feel like I have all these wishful thinkings in the world. Like I wish for so many things for my children, to be this, to be that. And that the biggest fear is, maybe because I expect or I just wish them to be this so much, but of course I don't know what's going to happen in the future. It's just that this, just in my mind, like mother's worries kind of thing. I don't know. Sometimes I feel okay, yeah, they're gonna turn out to be okay and stuff. But at the same time, maybe because the environment will change them, how am I gonna, to keep them on the straight path? This kind of worries that, okay, dua is one thing, but you need to work on the efforts to make it successful and stuff. So it's always, it bothers me as a mom again. Like even just to think about, okay, what if they're not gonna, or they're gonna be the unthinkable thing, that unimagined, like just, it's always in my mind.
I understand.
Yeah. I don't know how to really say it, but it's just that fear of, I don't want to say failure, but it's just that if they can just become a good person, that's good enough for me. I'm not saying that they should become rich and successful in, like what you mentioned, the material things. Like even if they just live humbly with the knowledge that they gain, and then they just live up to that, that's good enough for me. I'll be very proud of them in that sense. But yeah, that's the constant fear, I guess, just to think about my children and how they're going to turn out.
I think that is what...
I don't know whether you understand my...
I understand. I think that's what many mothers are going through right now. And subhanAllah, when you mentioned about mother, actually I had a page where it's about my mother. And I can sense that, because at my event I met a lot of people. And a lot of them worried about their children, which I think is unavoidable in this age. But I think the only way, I think you really sense what is important for your children. You say that as long as they have good adab, they have good akhlaq, it's fine with you. But I think all these experiences that you have are actually the same as how my mom used to have also. But you cannot give up. But at the same time, you have to let it go. The way how I said just now, you can't fix people. You have to fix yourself. There was once a sheikh. He met my mom. And at that time, I was still a punk. A punk like rebel and all that. And she said, my mom said that, my son, he's this, he's that, he play music and then he doesn't come back home, and he doesn't come back home regularly, and I'm worried for his life, I'm worried for his future. And the sheikh, what the sheikh said to him, to her, it was not trying to fix me, but telling her like, say, Ibu, you have to look at Allah. You cannot look at your children and say that I have to do this and that so that they can be better. But no doubt we we plan everything for our children since they are young. Right? We do our best, whatever that we can. Now we have a mother there, Puan Shahira herself, so we can learn a lot from her. It's not easy to be a mother, because I saw my mother struggle because of me. Really. But on the day she died, she was so happy to see me. And before she died, I read Yasin for her. Allah is merciful. And I become the imam of her Salat Janazah. Really, I didn't plan all that. But it was her. And I'll tell you a story, if you don't mind. I take time a bit. As I mentioned, I always didn't go back home. I rarely go back home when I was in 18, 19. Because I felt like my life was on the street. That was my life. I play music, I hang out with my music friends, and all those friends, junkies and whatever you call them, right? But the reality of it is that whenever I came back home, that Allah inspired me to go back home, I will go back home around 4 a.m., near Subuh. When each time I go back home for Subuh, my mom will be there at the door. Because there was the Qiblat facing near the door. And she was doing tahajjud. She just prayed. So I always wait for her to end her prayer. Then, because I cannot just bypass. You see, that's the funny thing. You rebel, but then you still have adab. Okay, my mother praying. I just wait. I sit I sit at the door, I waited for her. So she tahajud, and then she end. And that goes on and on and on. I don't know, maybe 2 years, 3 years. And then, each time she finish, she will always say to me, before you sleep, we pray subuh, you imam. She said that. I was like, Imam? Okay. You know, because my dad passed away when I was very young. I grew up with a single mother. You know how difficult it is, right? But, alhamdulillah, and when I changed, she never even said anything. Why? She said, Allah is the one who gives hidayah. So, being a mother is not easy. But all this process that you go through, you have to pay attention to what is coming from Allah, not from your children. Because every lesson has been taught by Allah. Look at Sadatina Hajar with Nabi Ismail. When Allah said to Nabi Ibrahim, you have to abandon them, leave them, and they were Safa and Marwa. Today we have Safa and Marwa because of her and Nabi Ismail. So what is the beauty of struggle is Allah. So until they had that Zamzam, today we drink that Zamzam. It's a cure, Shifa. Right? So what's the beauty of struggle? Allah. But we do not know how to go about, because different people, as I mentioned earlier, have different struggle, different grief and pain. But the outcome has to be in the realization that Allah has always been with us. So we need to learn more knowledge for you to understand your children and all that, but do not have any expectation. You know what the expectation is like? I'm very honest with you. Like many people I know, they say that, okay, send your children to madrasah, send your children to this. And then when the children are not what they think they really are or expected, then they become demoralized. You know, I think in my generation, my age group, our parents are different. Because that was the time when the pre-World War end. So, apa kau nak jadi, jadilah, jadi orang baik. But today is different. Today your parents said, my children need to be a Hafiz Quran. My children need to have excellent in SPM or go O-level or, degree, master and all. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. But the expectation need to be dealt gracefully. Because me and my wife, we met so many people, the children still young, they already collect. Why? Because they expect a lot. They expect a lot. Oh, my son like to do random. There's something wrong. Children, what you expect? Baby, what? Fitrah. Right? So you don't know what's the best for you, but the best for you is from Allah. And when I say the best for you is from Allah, is the fact that you do what you can do, and the rest you leave it to Allah. You know, even many sheikhs that I know of, famous shuyukh in Singapore, you know, all those wali, their test is their children. Children, really. There's this one, I don't say name lah, one great ulama in Singapore, he passed on, rahimahullah ta'ala, that everyone comes to his house to study. Everyone, even from Penang, from Jakarta, from Java, they come to Singapore to study. They spend money, hours, travel. But his student, when they were studying, finished, he came back, baru tengok wayang. So how? Your test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So relax, chill. Live as a human means give what they can and take it how they respond to you. Right? But having said that, growing up is very, very important. Children growing up, you can ask my wife, growing up is very, very important. All the broken people that we have met and experienced meeting are those who have broken childhood, abuse, especially abuse. So you have to take note of that. So adab begins with them at home when they were a child. How you treat your spouse, how you talk to them, how do you talk to your spouse, they will pick it up. Right? Even if you don't divorce and all that, they will still pick it up. Right? So that's where childhood is the most important time, the development of our human body and being. Because what we are today is where we come from in our home. That's why home has to be in a safe environment. Right? There's no perfect home, of course. But love is the pinnacle point in love. Love means doesn't you spoil the child. Love is how you respond to them, the adab, the akhlaq, right? Yeah. So, inshallah. Anyone else like to share?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Syukur alhamdulillah to Allah Subhanahu wa taala, and praises to Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. First of all, I'm 48 years old, and I will have to say this is probably one of the best lah. This is really one of the best, and I pray to Allah Subhanahu wa taala to bless Puan Syairah and the team, and also to our brother Khalid Ajmain. Having seen many things in life, maybe the youngsters will not be able to appreciate due to the inexperience. But what Brother Khalid has shared and what Puan Syairah is doing today is something that is very, very wonderful for the Ummah. And this thing should continue. And as a speaker, Brother Khalid today is giving us a lecture. I've noticed that rarely, very rarely for a speaker, whenever they speak, they will quote their mothers. A person who always quote a mother, wallahi, I think I have no words to describe that. So it should be, I was trained from young, from my late father, that whenever you speak, whenever you talk to people, you need to always emulate, or always you have to share with your friends. Hey, my mother said this, my father said this. It always has to be in your life, whatever. But I would like to ask Brother Khalid.
Yes.
Coming because you said questions. Yeah, I have a questions to ask.
Okay, no problem.
Fear in life. Okay, I have two fear in life. Number one is about dakwah. I always ask myself, what have you done for Ummah? That is my greatest fear. You're getting old. What have you done? Your hablun minan nas. Okay, for dakwah, have you done? I've done. I started a bit late, so a few things I've done. Second thing, my greatest fear is that would you be able to die in husnul khotimah? That is the greatest fear, because whatever you do in life would be worthless if you don't die in husnul khotimah. So if brother could share something, jazakallah khair.
Inshallah, thank you, brother. This is actually very important and a very interesting question. It's never too late to start anything in life. Prophet ﷺ, even his first revelation was later on, 40, right? At the age of 40, he's confirmed as, not say confirmed, but been, what we call it, known to the world as a prophet. But he was already a prophet. He was already a prophet, like he mentioned in the hadith, where I already a prophet between Adam and the clay. That means Allah already fitted for him. But he learned Iqra at the age of 40. And that is to show us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that nothing is too late. And as long as you have that consciousness, it's very important to have that consciousness. Right? Some people at your age, or maybe older, don't care. And that is a sign of a that is a sign of the heart is dead. Because if your heart is alive, you feel what you are doing is whether right or wrong, or you are in a junction where whether to turn right or turn left. What is good? What is bad? So that is already an indication of positivity, right? So da'wah can be done in many ways that you are able to do, right? A lot of times, again, this goes back to expectation. Right, like the sister just now said, my children and all that. So this is also expectation. What do you expect from him? Don't expect anything. Why? Because you're ikhlas. Do simple things. For example, Itqan need help. you volunteer or you give support monetary, or the mosque or any majlis that need financial or volunteer you support, that itself is da'wah. Because the reality of da'wah is not just that you go around and telling people or preaching. The real da'wah is you serve with the purpose of ikhlas. Why? Because with ikhlas, everything works on you, which come to your point where you said husnul khatimah. Right? It shows that everything that we do in life must have purpose. And that purpose itself is to remind us that we're going to leave this world, and what we live is what we had done for others. Unconditionally. Not to say that, oh, today I come Itqan, for Shaira must thank me, must give me $1 million. Or must this, must that, Amran must thank me, you know who I am or not? No, not that. Right? The one awliya, one wali Allah ever said to me, he said, the work that you do that nobody seen in this world, in the akhirah, the malika will bring like a light that fill the whole world with light. Right? How many Sahaba did something that nobody knows except Allah and the Prophet? But how do they know? Because Allah wants to tell them, this is the good work. So Allah mentioned, like Salman al-Farsi, Sayyidina Salman al-Farsi, right? He did something noble. Allah mentioned. Syariatina Khadijah, Allah mentioned her. Right? So, husnul khatimah is something that you need to start today, in which that you are grateful to Allah, that whatever that you had given to others is from Him. It's not from you. Right? And the reason is because we are not able to achieve anything. Even I cannot say anything without Allah giving me the ability, the inspiration and the knowledge for me to convey and share with all of you. This is the reality of today's life that we are missing. Because each time when we do something, we say, I salat, I give zakat, which is true, but that I must say Allah, not me. If Allah doesn't give you wealth, can you be giving zakat? Give sadaqah. Belanja your friend, can or not? But you say, I earn this money. That's what happened to Fir'aun. He finished. Then he said, I. That's why in the Quran, Allah mentioned about He saying that I'm the Lord of this world. Why? He never falls sick. He was very strong. He has the power to oppress. Right? He have so many concubines to show that I'm a real man. He have many wealth to show that you are my slave. But what happened then? So you are going through something that is difficult in your life today. To be able to say Alhamdulillah is to acknowledge the fact that I had nothing to begin with. Everything is from Allah. Really, what you have. That's why in the Quran Allah mentioned on the day of reckoning, Allah said, show me what you can give from yourself. Show me, Allah said. Show. Allah said, prove to me you can do something out of your own. You cannot. So everything hinges on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are able to see hardship as a blessing. Subhanallah. Look at the status of the mother, right? The status of the mother. The Prophet ﷺ said, heaven is, paradise is under their feet. And look at their sacrifice they had when they give birth to the children. Our mother conceived us, how many months? They walk, they never complain, they never say anything bad about you. When you come out, they rejoice. Anything happen to you, they sad. That's why Imam Ghazali said that your relationship with Allah must be like the child with the mother. Because the child always wants the mother, the baby. Right? So husnul khatimah comes when you learn how to surrender. And how to surrender if you don't nurture ourselves with ikhlas. And how to be ikhlas when you don't serve. It's easy to salat. Seriously. Even the nafs, make us lazy, but it's still salat. But it's not easy to serve people. Especially someone who doesn't have any status. Right? That's why when you keep on doing something that Allah loves because you helping His creation, what do you think on the day that you left? He gives you freedom. What is the real freedom? You don't hold on to anything in life. That's why there's no failure for them. Right? Yeah. This answer you. Yeah, so getting back to this one. My late mother used to advise me, if you are worried about failure in life, you should salawat, and Allah will make you realize the reality of life. There is nothing to fear and worry, for Allah will take care of you even when you are poor and alone. No one will be abandoned by Allah except those who abandon Allah. And this happened actually when I was very young, at 18 years old, when I started to rebel, as I mentioned to you just now. I failed badly actually in my academic study. You know, in Singapore, right, academic study is very, very important. Very, very important, right? For you to be so-called successful in your life. But you don't know actually. All my friends who went to vocational all know boss already. Huh? Never go university, never go JC. I don't know whether he called JC also. Yeah. They never go polytechnic also, some of them. But I'm not asking you to stop working or start studying and then Khalid say, no need. No. Learn as much as you can. The Prophet ﷺ said, learning from womb to tomb. Right? So what I'm trying to say here, that she was my support. She was my help, despite that I was a rebellious kid. Notorious, really notorious. But she always remind me the reality of that salawat. And today, after 20 years, then only I realized the beauty and the reality of salawat, in which you cannot see. But the problem today in the social media age, as I mentioned just now, a lot of people demand miracles from Allah. When you salat, you say, oh Allah, I don't want a hard life. When you do zakat, you say, oh Allah, I don't want to be poor, that's why I do zakat. So you are putting your condition on Allah, that's why you burden yourself, and that's how you get anxiety. Because you say, oh Allah, I don't want this, oh Allah, I don't want that, oh Allah. Nothing wrong to say, oh Allah, protect me from any fear, danger, because Allah is the protector. Allah is our refuge. But to expect something that we do and we realize that, oh, I shouldn't fail, that's utterly, I will not say nonsensical, but how you say, illogical. Because Allah, when He loves you, He tests you. Right? That's why Prophet ﷺ said that the one who is severely tested by Allah is the one that loved by Allah. But our society terbalik. If you are being tested, that means there's something wrong with you. If you fail, that means there's something wrong with you. What is this? Right? I ask you, since you were born until where you are today, is there once that you have never failed in relationship? I'm not asking about boyfriend and girlfriend, even friends, you know. Right? You change your friends since day one. So that means that nothing is permanent except Allah. But if you demand someone as permanent, that's where you put that burden in your heart. Now, when I lost my mother, I lost everything in my life. I felt that. And it's true. But the reality of her love, if you mean, is still until today in my heart. Alhamdulillah. Okay. That's why just now I said, learn to give whether you have plenty or little, whether you are happy or in pain. This is your proof of your faith in Allah. Try to satisfy the need of the needy. This is an affirmation that Allah has assigned everyone's sustenance. Nothing will change. This is the proof of trusting in Allah. This is by Ibn Arabi. And subhanallah, these quotes, right, remind me in 1986, I still remember, Allah preserved that memory in me. In 1986, when I was 10 years old, there was World Cup in Mexico and it was Ramadan. And our flat, in Singapore we live in flat, there's this Chinese Malaysian apparently. He was painting the flat and it was very hot. You know, it's June. June is really hot, summer lah, hot, very, very hot. So when he reached to my house, in the kitchen, he looked at my mother, he said in Malay, he said, Kakak, boleh kasih air, haus ah. He said that. So my mom gave him like a big glass full of ice, and my mom is fasting. And he said, you fasting? I said, yeah. Then you give me. I said, you're not fasting. And he was almost in tears because he said every house that he went through, nobody entertained him. Because they see him like, this fellow gondola worker want to disturb my peace only. But when my mother told him, he said, when I look at you, he said, I feel like I found my religion. I can still remember that. It's in Ramadan. You see, the service that you give to people, doesn't matter who they are, but you realize that actually there's nothing of that you had feel something because you haven't tried. So my mom gave to him and he said, I found my religion. And my mom said, Alhamdulillah, good for you. But he said, yeah, I think I want to be like you, like a Muslim, a very good Muslim. Right? Alhamdulillah. I don't know what happened after that. I hope he embraced Islam. It's really been like 25 years, or 20 years, I guess, 15 years or 16 years. Right? Right? So whatever that you go through, in Singapore, right, I met some people who have depression, anxiety. I met one guy. He's the product of domestic violence. You see, home matters, domestic violence. And he ended up being violent to himself. So he was sent to IMH. I don't know, in Malaysia they call it IMH also. Institute Mental Hospital. Or Hospital Bahagia, yeah. He was sent there, but he was only 22. He has a degree. So I met him first time because his auntie said, Khalid, I need your favor. Can you meet my nephew? Okay, I met. So his parents were divorced and he witnessed and become victim of spouse abuse. His father used to abuse his mother verbally and physically. So he tend to, whenever he's triggered, right, he tend to take the pencil and poke his hand. But he looks normal. He looks like us, but when he triggered, then he's like. And so one day I said with him, I said, if you're triggered, then try to poke that hand onto me. I said that. I was like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was trying to help him. I don't know what I was thinking as I said, but I just do that. Then he said, no, cannot. I cannot, Khalid. I cannot because I love you. Right? So sometimes in our life, we don't focus on what is real. We focus on who we are. And how do we define ourselves? Just now I asked, right? Define success, define failure. How you define yourself then? So you ask you then take another 1 hour, everybody is so shy to talk. Right? How you define yourself is very, very important. Like this brother said, how to have husnul khotimah towards our death. So who are we then? And what are we then? Are you just woman wearing hijab, then get married, have children, that's it? Or you are more than that? Or you think like, oh, I am I am based on my material. That means like, if I have $1 million in my bank, that means I'm happy. But if I only have $1 in my bank, I'm not happy. So your life based on material is tragedy. But again, as I said, right, not to say like, okay, you stop working or no, it's not that. But what I'm trying to say is that a lot of times you don't focus on what we have to do appropriately in our condition or situation. We always focus on things that make us not moving forward in our life. Right? So sometimes we think like, okay, I had done this, I don't think I can do again. But you keep thinking that keep thinking it's you. But when you die, is it you? That's the thing. We don't really understand who we really are because we live in an age of material. We are now depleted of our spiritual. You don't understand. Right? So I put these quotes, which actually make a lot of people ask me a lot of questions. I put that Allah is greater than our pain, bitterness, failure, and our heart's success is when the heart is eased with Allah. What does it mean by ease by Allah? It means that whatever conditions that you are in right now, and you are pleased with Allah, that means that you know and understand that the reality of your life begin with Allah and end with Allah. Right? No doubt, sometimes we are angry because of what people had done to us, correct? Like betrayal, backstabbing, your boyfriend leave you. Oh, this one happy story. Everybody encountered it. Right? Someone you love doesn't want to accept you. Like, why? Why? Correct? But Allah accept you more than the one who reject you, but you still hold on to the one who reject you. Why? Because unconditionally you put your heart and your soul for that person. That's why marriage is not I. Marriage is we. We, that means it's the union of the soul. It's not something to do with I. Because I is ego. You see how spiritual matters in life? In nurturing the reality that you see like, oh, that means I'm failure in relationship. Then you become emo. Then Elmo. Right? Emo. Everybody like the word emo. So emo. Very emo. Right? But they don't realize that emo comes from their nerves. Not the emotional where you feel sad. No, that is different. But here is that when you hold on to something that is false. False. Because you think that that person is able to give you what you cannot have. What? Love. Right? Sometimes you meet someone, you said, oh, so beautiful to know this guy, mashallah. But then when you know his ego, then you say, mati lang kau. Correct? You don't understand the function of the soul. You don't understand the reality of being a human to a being. You are only holding on to something that you think that is you and it is yours. That's why the children are not yours. It's given to Allah. And if you don't have children, alhamdulillah. Because Allah is still with you for a divine purpose. Do you know that a lot of things that we do in our daily life has a divine purpose? Coming here, divine purpose. Being with a friend is divine purpose. Talking to someone who is in need of you is divine purpose. Talking to someone who you don't have anything to benefit, divine. Right? The problem with us is that when you try to impress people, you become the hostage of their expectation. Right? Like a guy, you meet a girl, he said, I want to tackle a girl, so I was like, I look good. I give her flower, candy, so that she likes me, so that she impresses me. You become the hostage of the expectation. No wonder you lose your heart to that person. I'm not saying that you cannot fall in love. Don't say, Khalid say, cannot. No. Right to know the purpose of your relationship. I taught this in Singapore. Because I met a lot of young people who are broken because of relationship. I said, what is the purpose of your relationship then? What is the purpose? They cannot answer. So if you cannot answer, then how you be in relationship then? Because your relationship is based on attraction, which is fine. They say, Allah created man and woman so that they attract to each other. So we attracted. That's it. That's all. Habis. No, there's more to it. But I'm not going to talk about that. Take another 2 hours. Right? So I come to that end, but now I just want to share. I talk about Habib Ali in the earlier, just now, right? And this Habib Ali, subhanallah, is an amazing wali Allah from Batu Pahat. Maybe some of you heard of him, and some of you may not. He died, I think, 9 years ago. 2010, inshallah. It's the time when Secret Pablo started, subhanallah. And this man, I met him in 2001. At that time, I also don't know, what to expect to meet him, because I only heard the story about him. So the beauty of him, I only know when I was asked to give talk on failure last year at Singapore, at Secret Pablo. And how he rejuvenated me in knowing him is like a door, he opened everything for me. Because when I first met him, I said, Habib, I do not know what to do in my life. I failed badly. I just end my national service army in Singapore. Then he looked at me, he's old man, and he like, Khalid, when you don't have anything, you have Allah. In regards to what he had said to me, 3 things that I learned. Intention, just now I said, purpose in your life, and what are you willing to give to someone unconditionally. That's now the sisters talk about mother. Mother give love to the children unconditionally. But what are you willing to give? Because a lot of times, right, when we serve someone, I serve this brother, I said, if I give him, he must give me 10 ringgit back, 10 ringgit, 10 ringgit, 10 ringgit. And then he never give, I said, sudahlah, kawan dengan dia tak guna. See? Same like us, like, who belanja today? But the reality of service is not that. The reality of service is to illuminate your soul in realizing that you are part of humanity. There is something to be achieved within you. That's what Habib Ali taught me. When I give him money for my mother, he said, he thought it was me. He said, in Malay, ini duit siapa? Duit Umi. I said, kalau Umi saya ambil, kalau awak saya tak mau. Because I wasn't working at that time. He said, how's your mother now? How's your mother? He said, good, alhamdulillah, mashallah. He prayed for her. But you see that the number of people visiting his house every day is, I'm sure that even the president also doesn't have that kind of visitor. Day and night until he said, okay, stop. After Isha, 10 o'clock, I finish, I close my door. Why? Because he need to do the wirid and everything. And I remember Sheikh Muhammad Ali Maliki, when he arrived in KL, the big ulama from Makkah, he said, I want to visit him. Straight away, they brought him from airport to his house. So how important it is to meet these people is not to be all at yourself, not like I'm sitting with a Wali Allah, I'm sitting with this Habib, I'm sitting with this Sheikh, I'm somebody, now my life is secure. No. Sitting with these people give us the purpose to live our life. That nothing is impossible through Allah. Every day he give people drinks. He got charge people. He got say, okay, $3, $4, $5. I remember one time, right, I visited him, and I don't know, it's lunchtime, not many people, there are only 4. And in my heart, I said, I hope I get a chance to talk to him one-on-one. Because I got so many things to talk to him. So when we arrive, we talk, then Habib say, I'm hungry. Can anyone buy for me food? Then, okay, they buy. Then he look at them and say, buy for Khalid biryani. He like biryani. I was like, and then I had a chance with him one-on-one. At that time, I don't know what to talk, already nervous already. But I learned from his life. That means that give something to someone even if it's a little. And never ever think that you live your life for yourself. That's what the Prophet taught us. The Prophet ﷺ gave up everything. Even on his last deathbed before he died, he called his wife Sadatina Aisha and said, whatever that is remaining, the dinar and everything, give them. Give. And the reason is not because he wants to be poor. No. The reason is he shows that the blessings that you have, that you can share with people, that is the real happiness. I remember Habib Hassan Alatas, the Imam of Masjid Ba'alwi, he ever said to me, if you make people happy, Allah will always make you happy. Right? Another person that I would like to share, I think some of you may know, is Sheikh Zakaria Bagharib. Yeah. Sheikh Zakaria Bagharib, and he's the first man to change my life when I was very uptight because I was not doing well in life. I do not know what to do in life. But your heart, you share it with others. That's where the barakah comes in. And then you realize like, hey, actually, when you witness the beauty of humanity, you discover what is love. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ was for. He's for, sorry. And this is what the people of Allah give to us. He teach us the real meaning of life. They teach us the real meaning of what? To be able to know love is to serve someone without any condition. Habib Ali, I remember I brought my friend this year, Syed Zakaria. I met one friend who has a dreadlock, musician also. Dreadlock come, and Syed Zakaria was like, your hair is very nice. Where you do it? Yes. He never turned you out. Okay, you see the door there, go out. Why come here? You know who I am or not? Never. So in our entire life, we should not be someone who tend to judge without knowing the basic of what it, or who the person is or what the situation is like. Okay, I end. I know I take a lot of time. This is the hospital in Senegal that my Sheikh Mahi is built for humanity. And he gave me the trust and the work to do it. You know how difficult it is. We have to raise like millions of dollars. We have not reached there yet, slowly lah. But what I have learned from him when I went to Senegal, when I sit with him and I look at how he built orphanage, schools, free, you know, clinic, and now this hospital for humanity is like, he teach me this. If you are willing to do something, you will always achieve, no matter how difficult it is, through Allah. And it goes back to the core of the teaching where I said that everything begins with intention. It's not easy, you know, to do all this, especially in third world country where they have no money, they have no subsidy, they have nothing. But what they have is the heart that is willing to do something for the sake of humanity. So there's a big lesson for me also. When I was in Senegal, when I look at their life, like nothing. The Wali Allah is the one who feed people. They don't worry for poverty. They're not worried like Amran is going to be richer than me, or this brother is going to have more cars than me. They're not worried. What they're worried? They're worried if they are not shukr to Allah. So, you know, there are a lot of things we can learn from all these Wali Allah. Why? To understand and to know and to live a real life. Right? So with this I end my presentation. I hope it was something beneficial for all of you. I forgive that if there is any shortcoming from me, any recklessness from me.